Hi everyone, welcome back. In the last episode, we uncovered the truth about what self-esteem really is. Now let's dive deeper into a big question. If we're born with inherent worth, why do so many of us struggle to believe it? The answer may lie in our culture, trauma, and childhood experiences. By the end of this video, you'll understand how these factors shape your self-esteem and most importantly, what you can do to reclaim it. Let's start with culture, because whether we realize it or not, the world we grow up in teaches us what is valuable. In Western society, we often learn that worth is tied to things like achievement, success, appearance, popularity. We're constantly ranked, compared, and evaluated at school, at work, and on social media. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Hierarchies exist in every part of life. Remember lining up for school photos from tallest to shortest? Some people are better at certain things either naturally or through training and learning, faster at running, better at solving math problems, or more skilled in leadership. We'll all find ourselves at different levels in different areas, and that's normal. The problem isn't the ranking itself, it's when we confuse performance or ranking with self-worth. Think about it. If someone is great at sports but struggles with academics, are they worth less as a person? If someone is successful in their career but has difficulty in relationships, does that make them less valuable? Do people become more valuable just because they make more money? Of course not. Self-worth isn't a scoreboard. You can be at the top of one hierarchy, an amazing tennis player, for example, and at the bottom of another, like not being able to keep a tune at karaoke. But none of that changes your inherent value. When culture convinces us that ranking equals worth, we start chasing perfection, hustling for approval, and basing our self-esteem on how well we perform. And that's where we get stuck. This is why self-esteem is an inside job. It's okay to acknowledge strengths and weaknesses, to improve, to compare, but your worth was never up for debate. Now let's talk about how childhood experiences shape our self-esteem. When we're little, we learn about our worth through the way we're treated. Think about it. Children don't question their worth at birth. They cry when they need something. They take up space without any guilt. They don't worry about being too much or not enough. But then something happens. If we grow up in an environment where we're shamed, ignored, or only valued for what we achieve, we start to believe, I'm only good enough if I get it right. If I make mistakes, I'm unlovable. I have to please others to be worthy. If your parents only praised you when you achieved something, you might believe your worth is tied to success. If you were compared to siblings or others, you might think you need to be better than to be loved. If you were criticized harshly, you may have learned that mistakes make you less than. And these beliefs don't stay in childhood. They follow us into adulthood, shaping how we see ourselves, how we treat ourselves, and how we interact with the world. But here's the good news. Just because you learned these patterns doesn't mean you have to keep them. You can rewire your beliefs about your worth, and that starts with awareness. Now, we can't talk about self-esteem without mentioning trauma. Trauma isn't just big, life-altering events that we might call big T trauma. It can also be smaller, little t traumas accumulated over time, which can look like emotional neglect, feeling unheard or unseen, being criticized, shamed, or rejected repeatedly. When a child experiences repeated rejection or pain, they don't think, something's wrong with my parents or my environment. These people have unrelenting high standards. They think, something's wrong with me. And these beliefs, I'm not good enough, I'm different, there's something wrong with me, get carried into adulthood. It's why many of us struggle to feel worthy even when things are going well. But here's something powerful to remember, and I'll say it really slowly because it's important. The way you were treated as a child is not a reflection of your worth. Your value has always been there, even if others fail to see it. Healing self-esteem starts with questioning these old beliefs and realizing you are not your past. You are not what happened to you. You are valuable simply because you exist. Let's try something together. If you can, grab a notebook or just think about your answers. Think about a message you were taught about your worth as a child. Maybe it was, I have to be perfect to be loved. I should always put others before myself. Now ask yourself, where did this message come from? Was it your family, school, culture? Is it actually true? Now you can rewrite the message in a healthier way. Instead of, I'm only worthy if I achieve, try something like, I'm valuable no matter what I accomplish. Instead of, I have to make everyone happy, try, my needs matter too. Now I want to hear from you in the comments. Tell me, what's a belief about your worth you were taught growing up? How has culture shaped your self-esteem? What's one message you want to rewrite about your worth? I'll be reading them all. Thanks for watching the second video in the series and hearing a bit about what can impact our self-esteem. In the next video, we'll cover practical ways to rebuild self-esteem step by step and to take practical actions to show that you matter. So if you found this helpful, hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss the next one.